Hello again, it's the Lieutenant, again. So, and I'm here with Mr. S. Talcott. So,
Happy to be here, Collin. Very excited.
Yeah, thanks. So, Mr. Talcott, what's your opinion on bow ties, and why did you start wearing them?
So I started wearing bow ties, I think when I was like in high school. I might have had one bow tie, and I was always really into, puzzles, but also like knots and things like that. So I got into like learning how to tie a bow tie for myself then. But I only wore it, like maybe once a year for, like Christmas when we went to see my grandparents. I put on the bow tie. But then when I started teaching, I decided I had to dress up, and the first school I worked at, you had to wear a tie every single day. And I just decided I wanted to try moving towards more bow ties.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Like, you got the habit of wearing a tie, and then you switched over, and then you didn't need a tie, but you felt like you needed something there, so a bow tie.
Yeah, I love bow ties because they don't, one, I think they look great. You look dapper and wonderful when you're wearing a bow tie. And two, they like don't get in the way like normal ties. When you go to wash your hands in the sink, your tie doesn't like fall out and hit the water.
That gets so annoying.
Yeah, it doesn't get caught in fans, it stays right where it is.
Yeah, because if you walk behind a fan, then you look over, and because it could go straight to the fan, then you got pulled out. Yeah.
Classic tie problems. Yeah.
So, question 2. Do you self-tie, or does someone tie your bow ties for you?
So I do self-tie all of my bow ties. Fun fact, the knot that you use to tie a bow tie, it's actually the exact same knot you use to tie your shoes. So if you know how to tie your shoes, you actually know the knot you need to tie a bow tie. It's a little bit harder because you're dealing with, much shorter things than shoelaces.
And it's way up closer to you, so...
Yeah, so you got to be like looking in a mirror, and but it's doable. That said, I also think that, there's nothing wrong with folks who want to, especially if you're just getting into bow ties, and you're not confident on tying them yet, but you love the way that they look. The like pre-tied bow ties work great and also look great. Yeah.
So clip-ons could be used as a starter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no bad bow ties.
No. And also, like, with the bow tie you're wearing now, it does look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. That's very kind of you, Collin.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on. What was the first bow tie that you bought / owned? Mm-hmm. If you still remember which one, of course.
The first bow tie I got was definitely a gift. I don't remember from who. And that was like back in high school. Yeah, I didn't buy it for myself. But I did, when I started teaching, that was when I started looking for more. Because you wear a tie every day, and all of a sudden, like, 4 bow ties, you're through that in less than a week, right? Yeah. And now you're repeating. And so I kind of went on the prowl for as many different ones as I could find. Anytime I was in a thrift store or someplace like that, you would go and check and see, like, did anyone consign a bow tie here that they might have for sale? And some of them were really kind of ratty and worn out, but you can find some really nice stuff there. And then, so like one of the first ones I remember buying, I actually got online, and I was a science teacher at the time, and so I knew I needed a science bow tie. Yeah. And so I got one that was which I still have and wear sometimes, which is a periodic table of elements on the bow tie.
That's amazing for a science class.
Yeah. And then you get to make jokes like, I wear this bow tie periodically.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Which is, yeah.
Oh, it'd be like a Breaking Bad logo, like BR and BA. Because for the intro for Breaking Bad, it's BR and BA. Right. Breaking Bad. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be awesome if you had like also like purpose that like BR and BA, and you just put like a piece of like Scotch tape or duct tape, cut it small, and then just do a aching, and then for BR, and then just a small piece for the D for bad.
Yeah.
That would be quite a joke.
That would be a very cool bow tie.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then once I had started wearing them consistently, I'd also became something that people knew about me. And so I actually got 1 or 2 bow ties as gifts from students in the past. I got some, like, friends or family members. It was, like, an easy thing that they were like, oh, yeah, like, he'll definitely love a bow tie. So, like, well, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, one time, I'm like, no offense, but my mom and dad, because I brought you up, and then my mom and dad called you, oh, bow tie guy.
Bow tie guy, yeah. Well, it's nice to have a thing,
Yeah.
you know? And there are worse things that could be your thing. I don't mind at all being bow tie guy.
Yeah. Especially when you have, like, 1 million bow ties.
Yeah.
It's the one thing
Yeah.
you're known about.
Mm-hmm.
So, question 4. Do you consider bow ties as a good fashionable item to wear?
I definitely do. I think bow ties look great. I love seeing on, like, days when there's a basketball game, a football game, right, and folks are dressed up for classes. I love seeing students rocking bow ties on those days. I think everybody looks good in a bow tie. The other thing I didn't mention the last time earlier in this interview when we talked about it, I think the other nice thing with a bow tie is because it's so small, you can be a little bit, like, louder with the bow tie than you can with the regular. You can put, like, some crazy patterns in there, but it doesn't seem like too much because it's just a little small part of your outfit, right? And so you can get some pretty far out patterns without seeming over the top.
Yeah, that is a good thing about them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and so, yeah, that is but they're amazing. So, would you suggest to, like, students or other teachers, would you suggest to them wearing a bow tie?
I mean, yes, and, like, I also think part of it is find what you love, right? It's like bow ties are like a thing that makes me happy. I like the way I look when I wear them. I enjoy the process of tying them. I enjoy, you know, like, collecting them and having a bunch of different things.
And just like when I was back in 8th grade, which I'm currently in 9th, as I said in my previous podcast, but when I was in 8th, we needed to wear masks because of the whole pandemic. So, and after a while, I was using disposables, but I was spending way too much money on them. Like, I think one point I bought like 75 to 100 of them. So I was just going through so many. So then I went on Amazon, and with my debit card, I bought, well, why did I have to bring up debit card and how I bought it? But anyway, I found a 2-pack Godzilla masks, and one of them was Godzilla 2000. Another one, which was an amazing design. I loved it. The only downside was it was reusable and I had to wash it every day. But it was worth it for the Godzilla mask.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example of, like, right, so bow ties are something that I love, and if you also love bow ties, embrace it. You, whoever's listening to this. And I think the bigger message is just, like, own your own style, you know, and whatever it is that you love and that feels like you, like, embrace it, lean into it, live it up, whether or not that's bow ties.
Yeah, that's amazing what you just said. So, and now you're a math teacher, or algebra teacher, which algebra is just another form of math, but a math teacher, which is your current job in a high school.
Yeah, I am. I made the transition from middle school, from science to math.
Yeah.
And I actually got from the same Etsy store that I got my first science bow tie from. I actually, when I started teaching math, also bought a calculus bow tie. So I have that as well and wear it occasionally. And
and last high school that I go to school at and you teach at, there's a middle school shoved, more attached to the high school. The middle school used to be its own separate building, but then it got attached to just a simple hallway. They attached a whole hall, constructed a new part of the school. That still isn't 2016, I think, which our previous principal told me that I think that the middle school hallway was attached in 16. So, and the old middle school, which is right next to the high school, is now an academy. So.
Yeah. Collin, can I ask you, is there I know you talked about your Godzilla masks, but is there a fashion, an item of your fashion that you really love and identify with? What's your thing, do you think?
Blue jeans.
Blue jeans?
Definitely jeans. For now.
Yeah?
I was thinking of getting a bow tie.
Yeah.
Or a few. Oh, you know what would be smart? Amazing. Getting a bow tie for every one of my classes. Have a world literature one, world history one related to that, health, all my classes.
Yeah.
So
that reminds me of my first day working at my first school, when I was just starting teaching. I showed up on the first day with my science bow tie on because I was the new science teacher. And there's a history teacher, Mr. Setter, who works in the same building. He showed up on his first day, so we both showed up. He was wearing a world history bow tie that was an atlas of the world. And we were teaching the same grade and looked at each other and were immediate connection, right? Someone else from the bow tie family, yeah.
No, it's gotta be like this. So do you have brothers?
I do. I have two younger brothers.
So your brothers, your dad, your grandfather, if he is still with us, it would be funny if also your cousins just came together and just with your uncles as well, just all got a bow tie. Well, both your grandfathers, mom and dad. So, no, mom's side and dad's side for grandfather got a bow tie and got an army of your family, grandfathers, uncles, cousins, brothers, second cousins, and maybe nieces and nephews if you have any, and just get a whole army of bow tie people with just your family, wearing a bow tie, then just going and raiding Main Street or something.
Be a lot of bow ties that we need for that, Collin.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for that cousin part of it, because cousins just have, for me, I have a super large group of just cousins, first cousins, there's a lot of them. Second cousins, I've only met 4 of them, which they were nice young women, which they were about my age, actually. 2 of them seemed younger than me, and the other 2 that I met seemed about the same age as me. However, one of them seemed maybe a bit older than me, but around my age. So except that most of my family is female, and a bow tie for a female. We don't really have much of those at all, and it's also kind of more of a guy thing to have a bow tie, isn't it?
I think it's probably true that most of the people who wear bow ties are men, but I think bow ties look great on everybody. I think regardless of gender, I think everyone can rock a bow tie. So I would certainly not restrict bow tie wearing to men only.
Yeah. And but I could just imagine that you going down Main Street with an army of your family wearing a bow tie. Wearing military looking gear, but then it's easy to identify that it's not, but also it looks like it could be.
Gotta get one of those camo bow ties.
Yeah. Wear a military type hat. Obviously they're not real, because how would you get one? Well, besides joining the military, but even then I don't even think you could have one, so.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not my area of expertise.
Yeah. And we went way off topic with bow tie, like raiding Main Street.
Yeah, we did. Well, it leads you in a lot of interesting directions. But do you have any other questions for me, Collin?
No, that is it. That's what I had.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast.
Yeah, anytime, brother.
Huge fan, long-time listener, and I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah. Me too. The conversations you can have with your math teacher.
There you go.
Send an email, see where it goes. Just to make it appropriate, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, I am holding paper. I did type out because I have an iPad. I typed out my questions, and I had it printed out just earlier today. So, and I made them the questions last night because I couldn't get to it besides last night. So yeah. The questions, I might keep this as a memory.
Yeah.
No, get my own house. No, frame it.
I'm honored, Collin. I'm honored.
Yeah. Well, there is. So, do you have any questions for me?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Right.
I think we did a great job.
Well,
I think we did a great job covering.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining my podcast and being on episode 2.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. And you're welcome for being invited.
Thank you for inviting me, Collin.
All right. Well, that concludes my second episode, and it's about bow ties. See you at the next podcast that I got to.